thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule for me.
Thank you for asking us.
Thank you.
Question number 1. Could you please introduce yourself to me briefly?
Okay, so we are EVERFROST and METAL DE FACTO. We're here on tour in Japan. I'm the singer, Mikael, so nice to meet everyone.
I'm Benji, I'm the keyboardist of EVERFROST and METAL DE FACTO. It's fantastic to meet you all.
And I'm Jope, I play drums for EVERFROST and I'm the touring drummer here on the Japan tour for METAL DE FACTO.
Special guest.
Thank you.
Awesome to meet everybody of you.
Next question. In the past, I heard that Mikael studied in Japan. Do you enjoy being back?
Yes, I would say that Japan is kind of like a second home to me, because I spent a year here being an exchange student, also teaching Finnish and English as a part-time job. So that was one of the best years of my life, and I recall it very warmly. So definitely being back here is amazing, and I love to be here.
So, this is your first time visit to Japan, Benji and Jonas. How do you like it so far?
All I can say is it's like a different planet here. It's fantastic. And it's interesting because usually when I travel I get quite homesick. But I've been actually finding it a bit easier in Japan, which is very nice.
I just love Japan in general. I've been enjoying every minute here. And ever since I fell in love with samurai stuff when I was a little kid, I wanted to visit this place, and unfortunately we can't go to Kyoto because of those unforeseen consequences, but next time
We're gonna do it.
We'll be back.
Question for Benji and Jonas. What about Japan impresses you most?
For me, it would be the quality and the hard-working nature of the entertainment industry here. It's very much something else, and there's a huge emphasis and respect on entertainment.
Musicians,
yes. Every
performers. And
not only the working, like the way people work here is much harder, and the quality of service is always taken into the highest consideration, but the attitude to the possibilities of entertainment is also fantastic. I think it's very, very progressive and very important to the well-being of society in general.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, kind of the same thing, that a big respect for the music industry here. Everybody works so hard here, and I enjoy that the Japanese people still respect so much the music industry, and they buy all kinds of stuff and support the music scene and artists.
Totally, yeah.
There's say Japanese word your
Any Japanese words?
Yes.
Well, everyone first had to learn arigato gozaimasu, and we had to learn oishii, and taberu, and konnichiwa. Some of the most basic stuff, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I studied Japanese a bit before coming here. I took some summer courses, so I understand it a bit, but some words that I recently learned is sasuga and betsu betsu. Yeah.
I know doki doki and kawaii.
Kawaii is.
Yeah.
Next question, Mikael. You speak Japanese very well. What is your favorite Japanese word?
Well, first of all, thank you. I don't think I'm that good, but thank you so much. My favorite Japanese word, well, that's a very hard one because it's a rich language and I love all kinds of expressions. But maybe fitting to the heavy metal lifestyle, I would say ikki. You know, ikki, like when you shoot down a drink on the first. I really like that one. So.
I like ongaku.
Oh, ongaku.
Mm.
Yeah. It sounds nice sounding word.
And you wouldn't expect it to mean what it means.
Yeah, exactly.
Why did you come to Japan this time? You, Benji, and Jonas together?
Well, we originally we planned actually with family just to have a holiday, and then we realized we were going to be here at the same time. So we thought, hey, like let's meet up with the record label and organize something and
useful for the band.
Yeah.
So.
Originally we wanted to just meet fans as well, but then we were like, okay, how could we do more? And Rubicon Music helped us out so much in organizing the events, and even when things didn't sort of went south, they did the best they could to compensate and do even something. So we're extremely thankful.
Yeah, great people. Yeah.
I saw a photo of you climbing with Mount Takao. How was it?
It was really fun. Actually, our friend Brad told us that he's going hiking. It was like the following day that we came, and he asked, "Hey, you guys should join me." And
a Australian friend from my exchange time. Just to clarify who we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool, and we got to see Tokyo from far away, which was like really awesome to see that the city is extremely big. And
did you go anywhere else?
Well, we're staying in Akihabara at the moment, so that I think that for us was like a huge, like shock and just like huge surprise. And we went to Shinjuku and Shibuya.
Shibuya Crossing was quite
Scramble
impressive.
Crossing,
And Hachiko.
And just the way that people are so like friendly here. It always makes me smile because everybody are so happy and
people respect each other, and that's very nice.
By the way, please tell us about your wonderful band. Could you tell me about Metal De Facto's debut album, Imperium Romanum? How was the response to the album?
Okay, so Imperium Romanum is our debut album for the band, our first album. We kind of wanted to do this kind of 80s old school heavy metal, power metal album in the vein of kind of like 80s Dio and 80s Yngwie Malmsteen, 90s Stratovarius, 80s Halloween, that kind of stuff. Because we thought that kind of music is not really happening anymore that much, you know. Power metal and heavy metal has kind of moved on, but like this certain type of heavy metal we love, there's not that much new music in it. So that was basically the reason that we founded the band. And Imperium Romanum is our first album. It's a concept album about the Roman Empire, because that kind of topic really fits, I think, the heavy metal kind of sphere. Like if you think about Iron Maiden and bands like this, you have these stories and this like epic escapism, which is really cool. So we wanted to do kind of a concept album like that. And how was the response? I have to say it was even better than expected. Like we were dumbfounded by the response. A lot of people loved the album, and for our first show in Helsinki, actually, there was several people who traveled from abroad, from like Spain, Italy, Sweden, you know, Germany, France, all over, just to see the first show, and that was so heartwarming, you know, and that gives us a lot of energy and power to make the next one even better and make it soon.
Thank you. On January 22nd, Imperium Romanum was released in Japan. How do you feel about the release of this Japanese edition?
Well, of course, it's a difficult thing to buy imported albums because they're more expensive, they're harder to get. So it was really nice to have it released in Japan by a Japanese label as well. And the Japanese edition, of course, is a bonus track, which was a lot of fun to do. It's a typo negative cover, My Girlfriend's Girlfriend, because it's not like power or heavy metal thing at all. But we wanted to turn like, hey, how about we turn that into a power metal thing with all the like the harpsichords and stuff and heavy metal screams and
it actually
stuff
works.
like that. And that was a lot of fun to do. And it actually has a guest solo from my friend Juha from Delirium Sorter, who I played in Tuska with last year in like this big Finnish metal festival, and we made this technical death metal album together. So yeah, I think it's a very special thing, and you know, actually, like I really want to buy one myself.
We were really glad we could get the exclusive release in Japan too, because it was it was received well in Japan even when it came out. So having an exclusive was fantastic. Yeah.
And seeing it on the shops in Japan was like amazing. You know, on the shelf. Like that's a dream from like child times to see my own album in a store in Japan. And I bet it's the same for you guys. You know?
Yeah.
You know.
The band has the slogan, "Make power metal great again." Could you talk about the meaning of this word for you?
Okay. Well, this slogan is actually, it's not super serious. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek. It's a bit humorous as well. Going back to what I said in the earlier question, I think in the metal scene, in the power metal scene, a certain type of metal kind of disappeared from the scene, and we wanted to bring it back. You know, that 80s Yngwie, Dio, you know, Halloween kind of style. So, so this kind of slogan came up as a kind of a joke, referring to of course, the Donald Trump's "Make America Great Again." So we're like, yeah, we're gonna make power metal great again, and we put it on merch and stuff. Even before we made any music, it was kind of a funny thing. You know, some people might get offended by it, you know, but and to those people, I want to say, you know, we love the power metal now. Like, there's nothing wrong with the power metal now, but we wanted to bring a certain type of power metal back. So, and it, you know, it created some hype. It got some attention from people. So that was that's always good as a new band. So that's what the slogan is all about.
I play two different types of power metal, so
exactly.
I appreciate the approach from both sides. I don't.
Yeah.
But that's-
EVERFROST is more kind of more modern, maybe more experimental, and Metal De Facto is more back to the basics, you know, essence of heavy metal. You know.
Well, what's your favorite song on this album?
Legionnaires Out, I think.
Okay.
I remember these guys playing me some demos back in the day, and they were like really extremely excited about this album, and I was like, yeah, this actually sounds really cool. And I think Conqueror was the first song I heard, but then those guys played me Legionnaires, so it was like a raw mix or something, and I already like knew there that okay, this one is my favorite. But I also enjoy like Bacchanalia and Echoes in Eternity.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, Legionnaires. So you like Metallica, right?
Yeah.
And I think it has like that kind of "For Whom the Bell Tolls" kind of like Lars beat, which is kind of cool. But yeah.
Today it's really, I always find it hard to choose favorites, but today I think it's Ascending of Jupiter.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's just extremely like blisteringly fast and furious and everything, and I love how the last chorus in the key change, the synth part there is always really fun to do. But Inferno is also another favorite for me.
My favorite song, that's a really hard question to say. Like, for example, Ides of March has a lot of that kind of 80s Iron Maiden middle part where like the band goes on a journey and they do harmonies and solos and drama, and there's like stuff happening in the story. I really like that kind of stuff. But then again, something like Colosseum, because it's just so outrageous, you know. It's like the band is on the edge all the time, and there's all these like neoclassical tricks that like you know, used to be the thing in the 90s and stuff. So I got to do some voice acting on that one, so that was fun. But also, you know, Bacchanalia, you know, what can I say? It's just like the perfect Roman Schlager song for me, so, you know.
That's usually my favorite, but not today.
Not today. It
Not
changes.
today, yeah.
Mikael and Benji both play with Jonas on EVERFROST. Last May, Mikael performed in Japan as Tyro. Is there any difference in feeling when playing, singing in some bands like this?
Yeah, well, of course, every band is a different identity and different kind of musical approach, different kind of people. But that's also what makes it very interesting, because, you know, if I do EVERFROST or Metal De Facto or Tyro, in all of them I can have a different kind of musical outlet that kind of explore, you know. So it's really nice for the musician brain, you know, to do different kinds of things, because then if I do Tyro album, for example, then I feel really fresh to go back to EVERFROST, because I've spent a lot of time working on a certain style. So if I would go right back to Tyro, like the next album, right after that, I could be a bit inspirationally drained. But when I get to do something completely different like EVERFROST after that, I feel more creative and more like, yeah, let's do this, and like, let's do something different and new. So that's just my approach to music. I have 4 bands, so I get to do 4 different kind of outlets in music. plus all the projects and stuff. And I think Benji gets the same thing from producing different artists all the time and hearing different music, working on mixes for other artists. So you get those kind of different influences all the time, and you get something fresh all the time to keep you kind of interested. And so you don't have to do one thing all the time. But that's good for the creativity.
That's exactly right. I mean, I think in general, for me, I just realized like with metal, I love it and everything, but I get as I get more older, I start to appreciate more genres and want to work in them.
Yeah, different kinds of music. Yeah.
But with the two bands, because I write for EVERFROST all the songs, that's a nice thing to have. That, you know, it's kind of like my sort of songwriting project. But then with Metal De Facto, I get to play someone else's songs, which is really fun. So
yeah,
I get both sides of the experience.
Well, I've been playing in a lot of different kinds of bands in my time. I have played in a thrash metal band, I have played in a heavy metal band, even in a pagan metal band, folk metal band.
All kinds of bands.
All kinds of bands, but even though I love like all of those genres, I think, you know, like power metal has been something that I've really been enjoying playing because that's kind of fits my playing style in a way. Plus, I also have that one Metallica tribute band, where I can get loose and just play, you know, like for fun. Yeah.
Do one of your favorites.
Yeah.
Oh, next question. Mikael's vocals are very strong and impressive. Do you have the knack to get that high tone without damaging your throat?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. Well, the high tone without damaging your throat, it's all about singing should always feel good, right? So if you try to push something and it feels not nice, you're doing something wrong. So whenever you sing, if you have a if you're healthy, you have a good day, you can do the high tones with good technique. But, you know, if you're sick or something like that, you know, you might have some problems because the chords just don't vibrate properly, or they might be dehydrated or something. So my tip to know doing the high stuff without damaging your throat is just, you know, do something that feels good. Like, even if it's high, you have to find a way to do the high thing that it's not gonna hurt or feel uncomfortable. That's the way to go.
Okay, thank you. Could you talk about encounter with music?
Well, I think for me, first encounter with music was ABBA, actually, Swedish pop band. Yeah, the gold like collection, like VHS. I remember in the 90s when I was a small kid, you know. And I think it was Does Your Mother Know, the song with the really strong bass, and the guitar riff comes in. It was already kind of like rock and roll, and kind of like it just hit me, you know, the beat and everything. But if I really think about like my passion for music and that I really started to love it and want to do it, I would say Iron Maiden. Around 2005, my brother introduced to me, and I think the album was Rock in Rio live album from 2001 or 2002, I'm not sure, but that album kind of changed my life. Like that was the album that made me like really have the passion for music and wanting to do and be a frontman, be a singer, and create my own music and stuff like that. So yeah, that's me. So.
Yeah, I think when I was a kid, my dad played a lot of records and was into, you know, mainly sort of pop and rock stuff. But I think like my own personal like encounter where I really started to get serious about following bands and getting into music was I saw Kiss Symphony. I got the DVD for Christmas because I saw an ad or something for it, and I was like, oh wow, something about this, and it was the whole performance and just everything about it was so intoxicating.
And, you know.
It was so intoxicating. So yeah, that basically started me, and like as a teenager I was a big Kiss fan and Led Zeppelin fan, and got into Beatles as well. But then later into metal, I started listening to Nightwish a lot. So I think Nightwish taught me more about how deep you can sort of go with music and what you can do with heavier music.
A bit more aggressive than Kiss.
And then from there, metal music just exploded for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Well, for me, we had a lot of LPs laying around when I was a kid. We had a lot of like Hurricanes and some Metallica stuff. But I actually started listening more to like heavier stuff when my old classmate introduced me to this Finnish band Lordi. And after that he introduced me to Ensiferum, which is also one of the bands I adore a lot. And a little bit later after that, I started listening to a bunch of other type of stuff, and then at some point, like in the 7th grade, I got really excited about Metallica, and I think it was the 97 live DVD called Cunning Stunts, and I got it for like a Christmas present from my cousin, and then I started watching it, and I remember being really like amazed by how the whole band is so active on stage. And after that, I actually started adoring a lot of like drummers who give like a great performance when they're playing. And yeah, after that, obviously Lordi's old drummer Kita was a big inspiration, and Lars Ulrich obviously, and then Nightwish stuff came later, and yeah, all sorts of stuff. But basically Metallica's been like the biggest one for me.
Who is the vocalist, keyboard players, drummers you respect?
Well, there are plenty. You know, if you consider composing and arranging vocals, I would say maybe Hansi Kurtz from Blind Guardian and Demons and Wizards. I just love how he creates vocal lines and layers them and creates these harmonic elements with just his own voice, you know, stacking it up and stuff. Of course, as a live performer, maybe Bruce Dickinson, like he's unbeatable, you know, unbelievable guy, still going at it, like being the top of the world. But if you talk about Japanese vocalist, maybe, because we're doing the interview here, I really love Sakamoto Ezo, who used to be in Anthem and Animetal and all kinds of this stuff. So he has such a good drive in his voice, and it's very piercing and like attacking, aggressive, you know. So I really love him as a vocalist in heavy metal from Japan. Yeah.
For me, this is an interesting question because growing up, I was playing different instruments, and keyboard sort of came later. But I think from a songwriting perspective with keyboard, I would say, well, I guess Tuomas Holopainen from Nightwish. But someone I really, really respect as a musician, from what I've seen, is Yuki from Galnerius.
Oh.
Yeah, it's unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, a Japanese musician.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's right.
There's so many good players.
Yeah,
here,
well,
so
that whole band is just mind blowing. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for me, obviously, Lars from Metallica is
Yeah.
big influence.
Good old Lars.
Even though he gets like a lot of hate
Yeah.
nowadays, but he's still like one of the most influential musicians for a lot of people, and especially me. But nowadays, I also like the late Avenged Sevenfold drummer, the Rev, Jimmy Sullivan, and from the I started actually listening more like Japanese stuff, like a couple of years ago. Like really like Anthem and Galnerius and Baby Metal, but
Yeah.
like inspiration from these bands, I say Isamu Tamaru from Anthem.
Oh. We all had a Japanese musician. who
Yeah,
played
yeah.
bass. Yeah.
Johan Havenstadt did the artwork for the album. He was the work of several albums from the power metal band Stratovarius, including works such as Nemesis, Eternal. He has also worked on the German metal band Accept the Rise of Chaos. What do you think about this?
Well, it's a great honor to work with a legend like that. You know, he's worked with all of my favorite bands like Blind Guardian and Ensiferum and you know everyone. So it was a great honor. But we decided in the beginning of the band that we want the visual look to be impressive. Like when you have the backdrop like Iron Maiden, you know, like a huge thing, it has to look impressive and you know fill you with like this positive energy that like a big heavy metal show is gonna start. And also the booklet also has illustration there, so every song has its own kind of old style paper
Yeah, with
kind of drawing. So because I want it to be like if someone gets the album and they go through the lyrics and look at the images, like they can really like get drawn into the story and stuff. So it was really important for us. So from the beginning we decided we have to find someone who can deliver, and Gyula is definitely someone who can deliver.
Here, Mikael is from Helsinki and Benji is from Australia. In Finland, all bands are very original. Finland is said to be one of the metal powers in Northern Europe. Why do you think heavy metal is so popular there?
I think it's the darkness. There's a lot of darkness in Finland,
And
like
coldness.
and coldness. So I think a lot of inspiration gone from that. Like we call it kaamos. It doesn't really have like an English translation.
Kaamos masennus,
Yeah.
which is the depression.
Because of the dark,
Yeah.
yeah. So we kind of need strong music to like.
You get you going in the morning, and you know, like, it's. I think that like it's also something of a. There's this sort of thing about just living there that. Because it's interesting for me actually, like, 'cause I mean, yeah, I was born in Australia and I moved to Finland 5 years ago. I think that it's something that like maybe the cold it makes people want to do more stuff or sort of use more energy maybe, because it's when you feel cold it's like you're gonna shiver and freeze if you don't do something, but metal is so aggressive and it's much more you're much more active when doing it. It's like,
so when you're cutting wood for the sauna, you know, you're gonna be like, it's cold and I need this stuff, so you need some like
power
like
behind
really
you,
powerful stuff so you can get the power. So
and I found that just after being in Finland and after even like the first time I ever went there, I just could write much better songs and I felt much more inspired to make music, basically, because of that probably.
Power metal is very popular in Japan. What do you think about its popularity in the Europe scene?
well, I actually think surprisingly in Finland it's not that super popular necessarily. I think in Finland and Nordic countries like the death metal and the really dark stuff, that's actually more popular nowadays. But you know, of course we have bands like Beast in Black who are kind of bringing it back, which I really love, you know, and they're my friends, you know, and it's great that they're doing that. But I really like that Japan is really into that stuff, and if you listen to a lot of TV series or like anime series and stuff, like usually the opening songs are kind of power metal-ish. Like it's very like apparent here, like you can hear it on the street even, you know, something that can be considered power metal-ish. So I feel it's like almost like a home, because that's like my genre, like the stuff that I love, so you know.
I heard that you have already decided on some ideas for your second album. What is going to be like and when is the release likely?
Okay, we aim to have the second album out next year, and it's gonna have a different concept altogether from the first album. We're not gonna reveal it yet. It's gonna be a bit of a secret, so you can guess, and we're gonna do some hyping up maybe later. But what I can say is that we have too many songs. Like we are writing so many songs that we are having a hard time choosing, and you know,
it's because
we have
everybody
already several albums worth of material, so that's not gonna be an issue. But of course, the issue is maybe finding the time and doing it properly so it has a good production and everything. So, but it's gonna be done fairly soon, I think.
Yeah, I think it's because we have so many songwriters in the band, so it's there's never a lack of material.
Yeah. And that's a luxury.
Yeah.
Could you tell me your plan for the future as Metal De Facto?
Well, we want to continue doing the thematic things. So every album is gonna have kind of a different theme. So you can always think, oh, that album had that thing, and that album had that thing, kind of a different kind of adventure. So they're all gonna be theme albums. And our plan is to make albums and live shows and grow the band, you know, as much as we can. So let's see what the future brings.
Many fans are looking forward to the show in Japan. What do you think about this?
Well, it's amazing to know that there are fans in Japan and that people who like our music. Like, that's so heartwarming to know. And of course we want to play in Japan as soon as possible. You know, it has a great music scene, like we said, and you know, it would be a total privilege to come tour here.
That's exactly right.
Final question. Would you give your message to Japanese fans?
Okay, yeah. 日本人の皆さん、全部本当にありがとうございました。なんかこのメタルデファクトにサポートはなんかめっちゃびっくりしました。だから 本当に私たち嬉しいです。だから、もうすぐ日本にライブに来たいから、その時ぜひ会いましょうと一緒にヘビーメタルショーをお楽しみお願いします。
And I just want to say thank you for being there for us, because if you're there for us, we're there for you too.
Big thank you, arigatou gozaimasu, for everybody believing in us, and we'll see you soon.
Yes. And we love Japan.
That's true.